So I was telling you guys about the simulator and just the general benefits, but I figured I'd show it to you so that way it's not just all talk. So this is navigraph charts. It's just like our ForeFlight, except it's for simulators. It connects to your iPad just like ForeFlight and everything else. Well, in the simulation right now, if I look around, I'm actually at ATP. I basically have us spawned right where we would be starting up, and then we have to request a clearance, so on and so forth. So I'm going to sound kind of ridiculous because I'm going to be talking to myself, but I'm just going through the steps, speaking with ATC, etc. along the way. I'm probably going to mess it up, but that's why we're doing this, right? So in this case, I'm just going to be call sign CareerTrack 391, just like we are in the simulator. But let's go ahead and we've got everything fired up. We don't have to start it right this second. You can go through all that. That's a whole nother, it's different panel, so it's a whole nother story. Well, let's go ahead and call clearance. So we'll go ahead and call clearance. Executive clearance, CareerTrack 391. Piper Archer with ATIS Alpha. Request pattern work. And they'll give it back to you. Contact ground, blah, blah, blah. All right, so we're good. Now we will taxi on out of here. And you'll see it's going to move on the on my iPad and on the main screen here. I've got the taxiway overlay on the full-size map, which we'll zoom out to here in a minute. Obviously, normally we'll have just those planes all lined up on the sides, those box planes. Hey, don't taxi that fast. A little different in a simulator, but let's get nice and slow here. Look out for that divot that's in the runway with the cone, or the taxiway with the cones around it. I'm just picturing all the everything that would be in the way here. You'd have helicopters off to the left, pilot cafe. In this case, it's just buildings. There's no, I mean, it looks similar, but it's not a pilot cafe or whatever, jet cafe. All right, and so we're just gonna continue on. Yeah, and just make sure you're not running into anything. So we've got Bravo 1 right here. So we'll make that call. Just go ahead and stop. Usually you'd have all those diamonds and everything working over here. At this point we are with ground. So executive ground, CareerTrack 391, holding short of Bravo, Bravo 1, with Alpha, request taxi to the run-up. And they'll give you a clearance taxi to the run-up. You'll write it down. In this case, it would just be Bravo Echo, taxi to run up at the tower, blah, blah, blah. So we'll go ahead and do that. You read that back, I suppose. Bravo Echo, taxi, run up to the base of the tower. CareerTrack 391. It's actually a lot easier in real life to stay on the center line than it is with these rudders that I've got. And clear right, clear left, clear. Probably the force feedback or something. You know, we don't have any actual feel for how far we're turning. But again, it's gives you good procedural work. Clear right, clear left. We would taxi into the run-up. Normally we would do the run-up. I'm just going to go ahead and, alright, we're here. Run-up, it's executive ground, CareerTrack 391, run-up complete. And then I'll read it back. And we'll get taxi clearance to the active. And then taxi via Echo 6 Golf. and then to the active. Alright. You can see it's following us the whole way. So make that left. So we are still on ground comms right now. As we get a little closer, we can slow down. I usually wait until the just the alpha sign right there at the end before you make the right onto the hold marks. So like right about here, I would swap to tower. And then once we're at the hold marks, and just do your final items, doors and windows secured, blah, blah, blah. And then call tower, executive tower, career track 391, holding short of runway 9, ready for departure. And we'll go ahead and get that clearance. Cleared runway 9, straight out departure. I'll call your cross. So, runway 9, straight out departure. You'll call my cross, career track 391. Now we'll go ahead and taxi through. Clear left, clear right. And I've actually got a full head tracking system as well that hooks to the monitor. I just didn't do it for this. Alright, and we are lined up. Full throttle. Mixture is rich. Which you would just slide that up and down with the mouse. And rotating at 60, airspeed is alive, gauge is in the green. Rotating. Now, this has live wind and we've actually got a pretty strong crosswind right now. So I'm just giving it that right rudder, climbing, I'm extending out, so climbing 76 to 1000 or until the base is called. I'm going to call my own base because I don't have an actual tower here, but let's just go ahead and keep climbing. Holding that right rudder. Pitching for 76. And career track 391, make right traffic. Alright, I will make right traffic. So we're just going to do it at 700 like we would normally do anyways. So making right traffic. Continuing 76 to 1000. Let's see. And rolling wings level 4180, continuing on to 1000. And we are now at 1000. Pitch down, power down. We'll go ahead and come to that known RPM of 2100. That'll give us our 90 knots and 1000 feet. Go ahead and trim her out just a touch here so I don't have to pull back. And we're just looking over our right shoulder. Oops. Hey, we all do it. I just jumped way too much there whenever I was messing with my trim. But let's go ahead and get her back down. Right shoulder, we're going to go ahead and make our downwind. I'm going to reduce power just to go ahead and get us back to that proper altitude. Continuing to turn west. And roll wings level 270, 1,000 feet. And regaining that speed. We'll go ahead and do our before landing checklist. So it's right in front of us, right? So fuel tank, we're on the proper tank. Fuel pump on, landing light on. We will hold off flaps 10 until we are beam our touchdown point, at which time we will reduce power to 1500 RPMs. So just about a beam, flaps 10. My numbers are all off right now. Reducing power. Getting that descent going at 80. Looking over our right shoulder for that 45. And we can go ahead and make our downwind to base. Pitch over a little bit. Don't have quite enough airspeed. Watching our altitude, pitching for 80. And we've got our distance over here. We're within 2 miles. Flaps 25. Pitching for 70. I like to be around 500 as I'm going to be lining up for final. Looking right. We've got the runway in sight. Lining up for final. I'm at flaps 25, so pitching for 70. We're just about right. 500 with that little pond, making our base to final. All right. Now we're working the, we got our 500 marks, 500 foot markers on the runway in sight lined up on our screen. We've got a heavy crosswind, so I want to be compensating for that. Pitching for 70, running our airspeed with our throttle in this case. G-cache, glide slope, flaps 25, heels, toes off, brakes. Plus or minus 5 of 70. We'll call stabilized at 200. We are at 250. We're at 70 knots. 70 knots, 200 stabilized. We've got those 500 footers in sight. I think we can go ahead and just power down, power out. All right. Now we're just going to go ahead and fly her. Try and obtain that center line. Rolling out, flare, and I'm on the ground. Alright, and I guess we wouldn't actually stop on the runway like that. Let's go ahead and taxi off. I guess I didn't give myself clearance to land either, but whatever. You guys get the overall point here. If you followed it this far even. I'm just going to go ahead and do another lap. So we'll just get the whole short lines on the other side there. We shall stop. We are past the whole short lines. And executive ground, clear track 391, clear runway 9. We are at Alpha 4. Request taxi back to the active. They'll give us the clearance, we'll do all that. I'm going to go through my after landing checklist, which I've got here somewhere. Could have had it a little bit more ready. Oh, you don't land with that one. There we go, after landing. And flaps up. Trim center, carb heat off, mixture lean for RPM rise. We are good there. Fin strobe, swap that down. Fuel tank selector, same tank, we're good. Fuel pump is off. And we've already obtained our clearance, we are good. Let's go ahead and taxi back to the active. We're just gonna go alpha straight down. See if we can get a better lap this time. That one was not my best, but it's all good. And yeah, this is live weather for today, which, you know, it's pretty stormy out, heavy winds. Obviously you guys all know what it is today, but if you watch this in the future. So right now we're on ground comms. I've got my fuel pump off. We need to remember to turn that back on. So same scenario. We'll taxi down to where we're going to make our right onto the runway. In this case, it's just going to be the base for runway 9. I guess that's Alpha 1. Doo-doo. Alright, so say we've got Alpha 1 right there. We'll go ahead and swap over to tower because we're, you know, relatively close. Whenever I swap over to tower, I swap my fuel pump on as well. Gotta love that. That's not really there in real life. I don't have my graphics set to crazy anything, so a lot of this stuff isn't necessarily on point for details. I've got a laptop, not a gaming desktop, so. Alright, so again, we've got our fuel pump on, everything ready to rock and roll. Before takeoff, doors and windows secure, landing light on, strobe light up, and mixture full rich. Traffic, let's go ahead and get traffic. Executive tower, career track 391, holding short, runway 9, ready for departure. Alright, and then career track 391. Clear runway, or clear for takeoff, runway 9, make right traffic when able. Clear for takeoff, runway 9, make right traffic, career track 391. And then I'm going to go ahead and immediately go mixture rich, which we are good. Get a little throttle, let's get rolling. My rudders are on the ground still. Sometimes you can use it right here. I just know how to set up. Clear left, clear right. Go ahead and get lined up on that center line. And we are lined up on the center line. And throttling up. Airspeed is alive. Gauges are in the green. We'll rotate at 60. We're at 60, little right rudder, pops us right up. We got that heavy crosswind still, so we're going to go ahead and apply a little right rudder, keep our true course. We're climbing 76 to 700 feet, where we will make right traffic. And you have realistic winds here, you know, feeling some turbulence as I'm coming up here. You can see the plane kind of jumbling around a little bit more than the joystick's actually moving. Alright. And we're passing 600, we passed 600, climbing up to 7, making right to cross, climbing 76 to 1,000. You know, I'm not the most fluent with these calls and all that stuff, but hey, this helps. So and we are rolling up onto 1,000 feet. Pitch down, power down, looking over our right shoulder. We kind of all have our own reference here, but 45 from the takeoff, still at 1,000. Pitching for 1,000 feet at 90 knots, making a right downwind. And I got a trim wheel on the throttle here. Which I think I need to adjust because I am pushing nose over hard. There we go. Alright. And before landing checklist, fuel tank. We are on the proper tank. Fuel pump on. Landing light is on. Hold off on flaps and power reduction until we are beam or touchdown point. So 1,000 feet, 90 knots. We are at beam. So below 102, flaps 10. Hit my little button thing there. Reduce power to 1,500. For 80. RPM gauge right there. Unfortunately, we don't have the G500 in here. Looking over that right shoulder, just about there. I'm gonna go ahead and start making that base to, downwind to final, downwind to base, then to final. Watching our runway, altitude, airspeed. Alright, and we will go flaps 25, flaps 25. Now we're pitching for 70, I'm going to reduce a little bit more power. Go ahead and start making that final turn. And put a little bit of power. Same thing as before, 500 feet over this body of water. I'm going to start lining this up. Obviously still descending 500 feet in that region. So we've got a pretty heavy crosswind. You can actually see it kind of blowing me. So now that we're lined up, I'm going to apply right rudder to nose her over. And in fact, let's do this. Left rudder, right aileron, it's that right cross. So we'll keep that power in just enough to keep us coming down at 70. G-cache, glide slope, flaps 25, heels, toes off, brakes, plus or minus 5 of 70. And we'll call it at 200. We are at 200. We are stable. Reducing power. I've still got that left rudder in, right aileron. Try and keep us lined up with the runway. Rotate, flare. I'm still kind of, okay, there we go. All right, and go ahead and toe brake, aero brake. And hey, we made alpha, alpha 4. Let's clear this one more time. They're telling us to take alpha 4, contact ground. We'll go ahead and, once we clear the line, we'll contact ground. So, and swapping over to ground, we are holding short. So, executive ground, career track 391. Clear of runway 9, holding short at alpha 4. Ready for taxi to active. And that's it. Go through your after landing checklist, so fuel pump off, flaps up, blah, blah, blah. And just do it time and time again. I don't know how many of you guys actually made it to the end of this, but that's the simulator for you.